Pelotero Pickle, episode 37. We're talking about moving back the mound. Big leaguers creating awesome moments for the fans. Terrible texts from high school, college hitters. Jacob DeGrom, probably the best of all time, maybe. And then we got a bunch of quick hitters in UFC. Check it out. Pickle, episode 37, April 26th edition / 27th. Chris, how you doing?
I'm going for my I'm going full man bun.
Let's do a hair situation because you got a bun. We gotta get our give our audience what they want. Look at this.
I got some strays. Like I got one. Like that ain't it.
I can't really bun yet, but I'm getting close.
Yeah, I'm not there. But
Full undercut. We got an undercut, long hair. That's what the people want.
Yeah, I'm good. Otherwise, I mean, it's still cold in Massachusetts, but other than that, I'm good.
I'm gonna bury the lead right now. I can't wait to talk about the UFC fights, but that's last on the list.
You're a fan now. You're in.
No, I doubt it, but I understand it. But lead is now buried. Let's get on with the topics. Topic number 1: should the Mounds be moved back? This is I believe they are doing it in the Atlantic League this year. Were they supposed to do it last year, but then COVID, or they were going to do
supposed to do it 2 years ago.
Yeah, they're going to do 2 years ago when you were there. The thing that's funny about this to me, and I tweeted about this, if you move the mound back, velocity is going to make even more of a difference. So the guy, there's going to be more incentive to throw harder because it'll be more valuable. Pitchers are going to move more. I don't think it's good. I don't think it'll get the desired result.
There are zero scenarios where moving the mound back makes sense at all, period. Like, you should never move the mound back, because if it was that big a problem, then how come guys are still hitting 330 and 340 in a season? Like, how come DJ LeMahieu hit 335 or whatever it was last year?
Mike Trout's going to hit 400 this year.
People are like, oh, hitting's just way harder. No, it's not. Hitters stink. Like, they stink. Like, because they're not doing the things that baseball was meant to do for a long time. Like, when there's free hits out there, you just take them. Like,
Shohei Ohtani is modern Babe Ruth, and he bunted for a hit. I love it.
That's strange. So the debate, like, if you want to move the mound back, create a different game. Like, I'm so tired of people trying to change the basic rules of the game. And I think I said this already. For like 50 years, the biggest rule change was like, oh, let's add the designated hitter. Now, in like the last 5 to 10 years, because revenue's down, all they've tried to do is make rules after rules. Like, the idea of the pickoffs and the extra innings thing. The extra innings thing plays because it's more exciting, but it's just taken away from what baseball is.
So get this. I just saw a tweet. You're going to love this. It was a tweet. Rob Manfred was – it might have been a fake tweet, but it might as well be real. It's real in my head. So Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, told Rob Manfred, do not speed up the game because the pace of the game is perfect for gambling. So you can do between pitch scenario like gambling. Like, what if they increase the amount of time between pitches because it's what drives the revenue?
The whole thing is so disgusting to me, because for 110 years, and look, baseball's always been a slow game. The issue by and large is that the offensive players are just not as good as they once were, because
they're not as good as the pitching. I mean, the pitching is definitely better. It's faster. It moves more.
You can't say it's definitely better.
The strike zone is smaller.
You can't say it's definitely better because of a bunch of different factors. There's no pitcher that's as good as Greg Maddux that's pitching right now, other than maybe like Jacob DeGrom or Max Scherzer or maybe Clayton Kershaw, right? Somebody else we're going to talk about, Corbin Burnes. Like, these guys had Greg Maddux had pinpoint command.
And he had 6 to 8 inches off the edge of the plate.
And because of the fact that baseball was played in a way that pitchers were able to get calls, and they earned calls for the longest time. You earned calls. You earned the strike zone that you were given as a player, as a pitcher, as a hitter. So that was part of the game. So to be able to say, like, it's the same argument. Like, the stuff is better. Sure. Stuff, like, just pure stuff standpoint, I said this. I've told this story before. I don't know if I've told it on the show. The first time I ever faced Joe Kelly, he threw me a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that moved probably a foot and a half. And then he threw me a slider that buckled my knees. And I stepped out of the box and I turned around. I was laughing. I was like, literally. And Ryan Hannigan looked at me. He's like, what do you got? I was like, is this for real? Like, is the stuff he's throwing up to home plate serious? Like, I couldn't hit that with a 6-foot pole. But like, Joe Kelly is not considered one of the greatest pitchers of our generation. Stuff wise, he's got the best stuff I've ever seen. Like, throwing a fastball that moves like that at that speed and then throwing a slider that I can't recognize that makes me buckle. That's unfair. But you know what Joe Kelly's problem is? Like, he don't throw it over, and he tries to throw sliders on when he throws 100 with sink. So he gets behind the count a lot, and then I actually ended up hitting Joe Kelly pretty good because I got into ambush heater counts, and I would take my hits to right center field against him, and I think I finished like probably 3 for 6, 3 for 7 off the guy. Struck me out once or twice. I walked a few times, but it became a more comfortable at bat than it should have been, right? Guys that have great stuff now don't command it as well as they probably need to. I watched a Aroldis Chapman throw, and this story came up with the Wall Street Journal with Jared Diamond, the Wall Street Journal. Jared had texted me, or he had tweeted something, and I texted him back and I said, no, we shouldn't move the mounds back. And I said, because the whole argument was, our pitchers that good? And I said, no, hitters just are not that good. I said, and he's like, well, what do you mean? Their stuff's better. And I was like, yeah, but how come somebody can hit 340 still? How come that's still happening? You know what I mean? Because if that's happening, that means that people are capable of it. Like, I don't think these guys would hit 462 in 1973. You know what I mean? Like, DJ LeMahieu wouldn't hit 468 in 1950. Is that fair to say?
In 1950?
Whatever, 1960,
1950, I think he probably would.
You think he was going to hit 460?
Yeah.
Come on, stop it.
What would DJ LeMahieu hit in Division I baseball? Division I pitching. What would he hit?
I mean, making that, but if you're going to say that just
like, look at Vanderbilt's pitching staff right now. You think the 1950s pitchers were as good as like Vanderbilt's pitching staff right now?
Again, different
no way.
Different elements.
They weren't throwing that hard, but even so, like, this argument, in a lot of ways, I think so. Like, the velocity component is a big deal. I saw something the other day that said, when Randy Johnson was in the league, there was like one Randy. There's Randy Johnson, handful of guys. A couple years ago, Chapman was the only guy throwing 100. Now there's like every team has multiple guys throwing nasty upper 90s, touching 100. Like, it's so widespread now. The average velocity, and yeah, you could say the radar gun thing is, where it's being measured out of the hand versus halfway to the plate, whatever that article said. But consistently across the board, the velocity is way higher, like way higher. It's not even close.
Yeah.
The defenders in the field are completely different. You think guys in the 1950s playing no shift and aren't as fast, aren't as like explosive as the defenders in the big leagues now? You think LeMahieu's not going to hit 462 or whatever you said?
I don't think there's any chance anybody was ever going to hit 460, because the first time he got 3 pitches that were 6 inches off the plate called strikes on him, he would have walked back to the dugout and gotten thrown out of the game 12 times. Like,
the first time?
Yeah. It's just so making the generational comparisons, it just doesn't. I think the game's fine. Like, guys need to hit better. Just hit better. If Chris Colabello could roll out an independent ball and hit 321, and what league was that? American. If I could do that, that means hitters can be better. Like, because I got better. Hitters just need to get better. And I just don't think there's as much a willingness to get better and to do the things that you need to do to be better.
So there's one rule change that I would like to suggest. I think on a walk, the batter should go directly to second base. This is another Twitter thing. Directly to second base. Like,
when did it become so fashionable to change the rules in games?
I think if we're going to change rules, we can get creative about it. I think the 2-base walk is awesome. Takes a double play out of effect, gets a guy in scoring position. Moving the ball around the field becomes like there's more opportunity to play baseball.
Why?
Double plays are so easy in the big
But
leagues.
why are you gonna make a walk turn into a leadoff double when leadoff walks score more
Because
often than leadoff doubles do?
It's a
Leadoff walks score more often than leadoff doubles.
We need to fact check that.
No, that's a fact.
We need to fact check that. That doesn't make any sense.
That's a fact.
We're going to Twitter claim this. CC20 Rake is claiming leadoff walks score more frequently than leadoff doubles.
Last year, leadoff walk score. In fact, the leadoff walk score.
I'm gonna have to edit that one out. Edit time elapse that one.
The leadoff walk scores between 22 and 34% of the time on average per MLB season. Last year, 2,874 leadoff walks were issued, scored 657 times. So last year it was at 22% of the time, but it's been up to 30.
Isn't the guy on second base like a 30% or 30 something percent?
Leadoff double scoring percentage. Why is that?
It's got to be higher. It doesn't make any sense. There's zero situation in which it makes sense.
I'm telling you, leadoff.
We're going to fact check. Twitter will answer. Twitter will tell us. Hopefully we have our answer before the show's over.
Whatever. I'm just telling you, leadoff walks. I know for a fact.
I love when you're wrong because you're not good at being wrong.
I'm just telling you that leadoff walks. It's probably not a consistently year by year basis, but there was a significant portion of time where leadoff walks scored more often than leadoff doubles, and that was stated in clubhouses, talked about by hitting coaches and pitching coaches.
Name names. Let's take them all down. There's no way that's true.
It was talked about so often that I didn't need to name names. So the point is, Bobby, it's hard to get 2 or 3 hits in an inning to score a run. But if you walk a guy and you hit a double, like the guy scores. So like getting more than 1 hit in an inning is difficult, right? Fact.
I'm not buying it. Not a leadoff double. You got to run around second versus run around first.
It's hard to get
move them over and hit a
one
sac
hit
fly.
in an inning. How many
You don't need to get 2 hits. You could get a ground ball at second base.
Yeah. How many guys hit a ground ball with eyes anymore? How many guys hit a move over ground ball? How many times does that happen?
I'm just saying. It's way more likely that
just
that
FYI,
ground ball.
the other night, Padres Dodgers.
Yep.
4 straight innings without scoring a guy from second to lead off with the guy on second base.
But it wasn't like Clayton Kershaw up with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
That was a different game. That was the other one. The one that I watched.
Patrick was upset because pitchers were coming up in big moments. He's very upset. He wanted the DH. How about this? Go to have a DH automatically in extra innings games?
How about we just play home run derby and that's it? Like
whatever. They're doing that in the Frontier League.
How about like flip a coin? Like whatever. All right, just change the game, dude. Like I just
make it stop no matter what and call it a tie and just walk away.
I just don't understand changing the game. Like Rich Kedman was part of the 33 inning game. You're never gonna have like a chance to have something ridiculous happen where you play like a 20. I played two 20 inning games in my career and 2 18 inning games. Like they're not fun.
Were you making the argument that
you talk about it?
Do you think that the story is better than saving arms?
Is it about saving arms or is it about giving the fans more excitement? What is it? Can we decide? Like I don't know which one it is anymore. I don't even know why we're going there.
I think it's both. I like it. I'm in for it.
I don't mind what's happening with the run. I don't mind the runner on second. Like it's instant action. It's fine. Like
which is why I like the 2 base walk. I love it.
How about only an extra innings though?
There's already a guy there. You don't need it.
How about? But now,
if there's a runner on first, you just walk him.
If you walk it, how about we make second base third base and we go to third first?
I didn't think about what would happen if there was a runner on second and there was a 2 base walk.
How about?
I think you might go first and third. In that
how about in the extra innings you run backwards? You got to go to third first and then the second third. You go to third to first to second and then score from there. How about that?
The other thing about the 2 base walk, I think you should go straight to second base. Don't go to first.
I'm too much.
Go right by the pitcher and talk trash on the way by.
No, I did. It's funny you mentioned that. I talked about if I ever had to coach first base in college, we would change it to coaching second. Did I say this already? Did I talk about this?
I think I've heard you say that. But
yeah, I'm gonna coach second, and you just come see me. Like when you get on first, just steal every time.
Just go stand behind second base.
Yeah, because I'm betting they can't throw you out.
Nice. All right, next topic. Kole Calhoun had I thought it was a really awesome moment. Went to catch a foul ball down the right field line, reached over, some kid's glove, stopped his glove. The kid made the play, Calhoun didn't, and then he kind of like looked at him, and they gave him a fist bump.
No, but he looked into the dugout first too. He was like what am
He
I
was
gonna
like,
do?
that was like a come on, man, and then gave him a fist bump. I thought it was fantastic.
It was a way better reaction than Moises Alou freaking out on a ball that he jumped for into the stands when Steve Bartman got his life ruined. Like Alou, needless to say, overreacted, and I think Kole Calhoun was like, "Man, I would have caught that ball. You probably shouldn't have caught it, but sick play."
I think a very underrated piece of that was that it was like just beyond the net. It was like perfectly beyond, or like where that net that goes all the way down the line now.
Yeah.
Like the likelihood of that play happening was crazy. Did you see the mom's reaction? The mom was like, "Oh no!" And then she's like, "Oh, that's so cool." He gave him a fist bump. The mom's reaction was my favorite part.
Well, anything that can bring joy to a kid's life is awesome because that's what it's all about. So
But the big question for this is how much of this responsibility is on the players to do stuff like this? Whether it be, I just saw Mike Trout gave somebody like a signed jersey after the game and was just like chatting up with the fans before the game. Like how much at the major league level, how much interaction is there between the players and the fans directly, like just chatting? Is there time for that? Is it like you're in work mode where, I'm at the office, I'm here to do my job? Where's the line there?
the line from Van Wilder is the best line I've ever heard. Don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive. The same way you shouldn't take, and look, it's different for every personality. It's different for every human. It's different. Like, some guys need to lock it in a little more, but you're playing a little kid's game, man. So playing a little kid's game and your salary is paid for by the kids sitting in the front row. So you're probably going to want to think about making that kid happy, because the more you can create experiences like that, the more attached the fans are going to get to the game. The more attached the fans get, the more salaries are going to go up, and so on and so forth. So, I think it's awesome. And I think people need to just make sure they remember why they're doing what they're doing and what made them want to do what they're doing while they're doing it. Because if they did, they would put themselves in that kid's shoes, and stuff like that would happen every time. It's hard sometimes because fans, there are times when they try to take advantage, and there are times when the same fans are, kind of rude. And you just never know which line you're crossing, like which one you're dealing with. But, when the bad stuff happens, you just, tolerate it and take it as an aberration. Because I think more often than not, I try to interact with as many fans as possible. I thought, you make somebody's day, because I remember what it was like to be on the other side. I was very, very hyper aware of that when I became a major league player. So, and it was so obvious in Toronto that, you could change the whole course of their day, because we were doing something special and we were pretty high profile, and why not do it is my question.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the outfielders playing catch with a fan. I think that's a cool one. When you get the videos, like there's one that Aaron Judge is like playing catch with some kid. It's such a cool moment to be able to give that person.
I did it a couple times in Toronto. But I don't get enough camera time. Like, I wasn't a camera worthy guy, but it's fun. It definitely is fun when you see a kid wearing a glove and you go, "Hey man, let's play catch." And they'll talk about that for the rest of their lives.
That's good. I love it. Next topic, texts from high school and college hitters. We had a conversation about this the other day. Why don't you just get it off your chest? Say what you need to say.
This should probably be its own show. Can we do like a weekly? Is this like, should we do our own like weekly social media thing where I think Patrick suggested we put the
this is a perfect TikTok series.
Blackout.
Like there. Player states, "I hit a home run today, but I'm not feeling good. Should I make changes?"
All right. My most favoriteest one that I've gotten came yesterday, by the way, and nobody knows about this one yet. And this is one of my guys, like one of my dudes, like right here. He's like, "Hey, how do I practice Showtime and homers?" And I was like, "Well, just do it. Like, pretend you hit a homer and then like Showtime it. Like, work on pimp jobs in your room." And like, you have to learn how to be understated. But the best ones are when like, oh gosh, I almost fell out of my chair because I'm so rattled. The best ones are like when kids are like, "Hey, I'm really raking." So like, case in point was the one that happened last week. Really raking, man. Like, I'm 3 for 7 with a bomb and flying out to the wall a lot. Like, so I'm 3 for 7, probably 2 flyouts to the wall, hitting everything hard, but something doesn't feel right. Like, should I make an adjustment or just keep going? Like, what are we talking about, guys? What are we talking about? What do you mean it doesn't feel right? Your definition of right has got to be wrong, then, right? Wrong, right, wrong. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Yeah, it's like if you're 3 for 7 with hard hit balls, just keep going until it stops. Like my favorite was always like, how do I stop striking out? I'll never forget. I got a text from a kid that said, "How do I stop striking out?" It's like, don't get to 2 strikes. Like, put the ball in play. Don't chase pitches in the dirt. I don't like what. It's like not even a real question.
Yeah, I get some pretty ridiculous ones. Yesterday wasn't a text. Yesterday was another one. It wasn't a text. It was more of it was an in-person type thing. And I'm sitting there and we're talking about some moves, some mechanical stuff to work on, right? And it's not something that has a drill per se. It's not like a, hey, we're gonna swing up, because every drill theoretically is just something that somebody came up with that is kind of like a way to create a feel. And it's been 3 years I've known this one player, and he's like, well, like, I've worked with him for 3 years, so we've talked about a million different ways to address the issue. And he's like, well, you got a drill for that? And I was like, you want, like, here, let me get you my bottle of magic pills that will teach you how to move better, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, we as hitting guys, I guess, we're trying to educate people at the end of the day to smash, right? Like, the only barometer I ever used for myself was, am I raking? Like, am I giving myself a chance to get 2-3 hits a game, right? Is that fair? Like, when we were kids, like, you just tried to hit 300, and if you're hitting 300, you felt good. If you weren't, you probably didn't, depending on what level you were at. And sometimes you could be hitting less than 300 and feel good, and sometimes you could be hitting way over 300 and feel like not so good. But like it was about getting hits to me. It was always about getting hits. I didn't care.
Or hear me out on this one, helping the team win.
Yeah, what about that? Novel idea. You play a team sport to try to score more points than the other team. Nobody talks about that, by the way. Nobody. No, like, no kids text me. Like, no Division I college guys text me. Actually, I lied. There's one, but none of the other guys are like. They're all like, hey, man, like, I we lost a tough one today. It's like, oh, we're 4-20, but like, man, I got my knock today. Like, what? Nobody cares. If your team stinks, nobody's watching you play.
Except your parents.
Yeah, and they only care about your at-bats because, like, they don't want you to be in a bad mood. But at the end of the day, they don't really care. They don't really care if you get any hits. So really, nobody cares if you get hits except you. Because your coach is going to play you if you're smashing baseballs and they're getting caught. Your coach is going to play you if you're winning and having competitive at-bats. So I tell guys all the time, like, you write the lineup card. The coach doesn't write it. You write it. But you're going to let the fact that you went 0 for your last 6 affect your next 12. So, like, what are we doing? I don't know. I think there's like a little bit of like, we don't really understand what the objective is anymore. What are we trying to accomplish?
Well, it's because they turn the TV on and they see the guy hitting 220. They're like, oh, well, his OPS is high and he hits a bunch of homers, and it's, they don't care about the strikeout because his production's there. They just forget that the major league player hits a lot of homers and they don't. So that's the problem.
And to the point we were just talking about, like,
they have like the true 3 outcome, and the high school kids got a true 2 outcome, and that ain't it.
They throw 100 in the show.
Yep. Speaking of throwing 100 in the show, what a segue. I love the segues. Jacob DeGrom, is he on? There's people that are saying he is the best pitcher of all time right now, currently. Is that premature? I feel like he's been good for a while, but is he on the best run of all time right now?
He's really good.
Like, of all time, though, that's a long time.
It's, again, I always shy away from making generational comparisons, because if
DeGrom went to the 1950s, how many people would get hits?
Define what makes the best pitcher of all time. What do we like? Is it wins?
He gets people out the most. He gives his team the chance to win.
So what is the best pitcher of all time? The guy that is the most uncomfortable at bat forever every time that he pitches, no matter how good or bad he is that day, right? So a lot of people said that about Pedro. Like Pedro, what's Pedro's career numbers? He finished probably sub 3 ERA.
Yeah, Patrick and I went through a bunch of pitchers the other day. DeGrom's run right now is pretty serious. But
I mean,
if you compare stats like win-loss records, there's guys that went like 27-3. That's just never going to happen again.
yeah.
Besides, the Mets don't give him any run support. So
Pedro Martinez went 219 and 100. So this guy lost 100 games with a 2.93 career ERA. Yeah, the Met. Why do the Mets never score when DeGrom pitches?
I think it's like a bad juju. Like nobody can hit when he's there.
Are they too nervous? They think that they're facing him.
So I've actually thought about this, like in terms of like a player's energy and how your teammates feel around you. There's something going on there because it's been going on for a while.
The real question is, why didn't Jacob DeGrom get to the big leagues till he was 27?
Because he's with the Mets. That's the best answer I've got.
77 and 52 with a career 2.55 ERA. 1,198 innings, got 1,400 strikeouts, 1,409 strikeouts, only 287 walks. It's pretty good, man.
So in terms of streaks, we looked up, there was a list of like top performances by a pitcher. It was like Randy Johnson had a really good run. Pedro had a really good run. Kershaw had a really good run. There's like, in terms of more modern pitchers, what he's doing right now is way up there.
And let's call a spade a spade. In his age 30, 31, 32, and 33 seasons, I don't think he's missed a start.
Well, now you did it.
He had 32 starts in 2018, 32 starts in 2019. Like he had 31 the year before, so he missed one, it looks like. And then 2020, I mean, that's about right. 32 starts in a 162 game season.
You just can't get any run support.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He's really good.
Did you ever face him?
I did not. I was fortunate enough to have to get to say that I never had to hit against Jacob DeGrom. Like, and if I face, like, the next time I face him will be too soon.
Yep. Yeah. What he's doing right now is I think my favorite part about him starting games now is just Twitter freaks out. Everybody, it's like DeGrom day.
In his last 317 innings or 18 innings, sorry, he has given up a combined total of, that's numbers wrong. In his last 518 innings, I said that wrong. He's given up 96, 104, 114, 115 earned runs. 115 earned runs in 518 innings. That's like off the charts.
Yeah. He's got a 2.55 career ERA. It's pretty good.
His ERA over the last 4 years is a sub 2. Guaranteed.
Pretty good.
1.7, 2.43, 2.38, 0.31. So yes, his run is pretty ridiculous. And I think that's my favorite part is that he pitches. He just keeps going out there. So like he's doing something right.
He also has more RBIs than earned runs this year so far, which is just funny to think about.
And you want to get rid of the DH. It's fun to watch pitchers hit.
No, I like it. I want the pitchers to hit.
Hey, I was having a text interaction with Aaron Sanchez the other day because he's now a National League pitcher, and I'm wearing him out. He ain't got no knock yet. You guys got 4 starts, and Sanchez is pitching great. But I'm like, Sanchez, I'm gonna need you to roll out a knock, bro, because like, you know, you're my friend, and I need to say that, like, you know, you can hit. He looks the part, man. Like, looks good in the box. And get no knock.
He's a good athlete.
Yeah, athletes are crazy. I love when balls get hit back to pitchers that can actually field and don't look awkward when they try to throw the ball to first base. And like Kent Emanuel the other night. Speak of debuts, debuts. Not that we were speaking of that, but
one of the most rare situations in all of baseball. Came in after one hitter, 1 out, 8 2/3.
Yeah.
And not a complete game. More innings pitched than Bumgarner's no hitter, but not a complete game.
And wore number 0 to represent the number of days that he felt as if he should have been suspended. Weird. The Astros were like all about wearing number 0. Super cool. The only second Astro. That's the first time I've cried watching another major league player make their debut. And I was like really emotional. I talked to Kent the day before and the day after. But what I was going to say about Kent, for a left-handed pitcher, looked super athletic during double plays, fielded a ball, like stepped open, sidearm to throw to second base on a PFP for a double play. And I was like, dude, you got some athlete. I like it.
Maybe he's a righty in a lefty's body.
Yeah, I think he is, because he's like really smart and not awkward at all.
He's definitely a righty. Ask what hand he writes with.
I will
find that out. So yeah, DeGrom, crazy. Emmanuel relief appearance, unbelievable. I sent him a message on Twitter and he replied, which I appreciate. Because he's in the show now. He doesn't need to reply to people like me. He's a show. He's a shower.
He's a good human.
A couple quick hitters. The Arkansas homer. I forget this kid's name. I believe he's a sophomore.
Something more.
I loved it. The fans were. It was Arkansas at South Carolina. The student section was chanting Oompa Loompa because he's he's like 5'9", stud. I forget I looked up his profile. It's either Kansas or Kentucky that he's from. He was like player of the year. Kid's a stud. That I think was his 10th homer of the year. Arkansas is ranked number 1 in the country. Student section yelling Oompa Loompa, and he just stands up on him with a great sword dismount. Just loved it.
I don't think there's a better bat flip than pulling the sword out your back and just flipping it down to the ground.
I hate the launch. I don't like the take 4 steps and then throw it 30 feet in the air.
You can see how forced so many of these bat flips are now. Like the high toss and like, when do I throw it? How high do I throw it? They're ridiculous. It's getting to the point where it's not even.
I like it when it's emotional. Like that homer was emotional. Like F you, I just beat you. I just conquered you, and I'm going to stand over your body.
And to the point of the text message that I got, practice pulling the sword out the sheath. Practice pulling it out. Did I ever talk about when I did mine against Mexico, and all the guys from the WBC, or all the guys from Puerto Rico were like, "You thought you missed it, huh?" Like Lindor and Roberto Perez, because I was playing with the Indians that year. Like, "You thought you missed it, huh?" I was like, "Missed it? I was wielding Excalibur up in the air after I pulled it out of the stone."
Yeah, you're a big hold it high guy.
I was wielding Excalibur. They're like, "You thought you missed it. You looked angry." I was like, because I put my head down. I wanted to make it. I guess I'm just not a good pimp job guy.
I always knew you got it. I always knew you got it when you walked out. Yeah. That was the telltale.
Donaldson always used it. This was a good piece of advice. He used to say, if you can't showtime after you hit a ball, like you should be able to hit a ball and hit it out and be able to showtime based on like how you finished. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So when you hit a pull side homer, you need to be like you need to be leaning on a guy. Like your back should be turned to home plate. I love the back out of the boxes. Those are great too. Backing out of the box is awesome.
I like when a lefty ends up in the righty's batter's box.
Yeah.
They hit it and they just back up on them. And then they're like just
and like when you can round your walk out of the hitter circle, like if you like Acuna did that the other day, I think he like rounded his walk instead of like going directly into the dirt. That's legit. The general rule of thumb, this is a Jose Bautista line. If 90% of the world's doing it, they're probably wrong. So anybody that's doing like the same as everybody else, like throwing it high, like I'm over it. Like do something cooler. Come up with something better, because you have to be original or else it's stupid.
Yeah, I'm officially out on the high bat. I've never liked them, but like on the record, stop doing it. You look stupid. Take it to my deathbed.
In a 9-run game, no less.
Yeah, it's just obnoxious. There's no like. I just hate it. Dodgers Padres, some pretty good games again this weekend. How many do they play? A lot more this year. I hope they play. They should 19 they should play 162 games. Those two, if they played every night, I would watch them.
19 games in the division against division opponents. So yes, they will play a lot more. It just happened that they played the series early, and it's good that they played them early because baseball needed them. Yeah, I mean, Fernando Tatis made an adjustment. He got hurt, came back, was scuffling, like had like 5 games, I think, without a hit. Like, and then I heard
he had a homer that first game back, and then he went on struggle bus.
Yeah, they were talking about the adjustments, and it was clear that he made the adjustments. Like, went to 2-hand finish, went to like getting the foot down, like a.
Harold Reynolds stated that you can't hit. No great hitters have ever had a 2-hand finish.
Yeah, Harold.
Except for like I went on a massive Twitter thread with that one.
Harold's my guy, but
We talked
I
about
like
that.
Harold. Like he's awesome. Like good relationship with Harold. We hung out when we were up in Toronto when he told hockey fans in Canada that they don't know anything about baseball because they don't like hockey. I defended him one night when we were on the street, and I told a fan not to kill him. Whatever. Nice guy, but no good hitters have had two-handed finishes. Like I don't know what that means. Like, and oh, by the way, there's no rule saying you have to finish the same way every swing. So you can finish with two sometimes and then with one another. Think about that. What a mind blower that is.
Crazy. There was a really cool double play, lasered at second baseman. It was a big play in the big moment. Some people were like, double play of the year. I mean, he knocked it down, then he flipped it over. It's like,
Mookie's catch was awesome.
yep, that was last week.
Jake Cronenworth had to throw sinkers and struck Mookie out. That was awesome.
That was last week.
A lot of 2-out hits to tie games that were like just so casual. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna take this game to extra innings. Hosmer had some big at bats. Machado had some big at bats. You know, Tatis went 9 for 3 against two.
So let me ask you this question: you're in the big leagues and you're watching all of like the fanfare and the excitement over that series. Do those teams like? Are you looking at those games being like, we need to match this? How, like, there, it's now a rivalry. There's issue now like between those two teams. Like I remember in college when there was like a big game or like a big conference weekend against the two top teams. What's that feel like in the big leagues? You watching scoreboards? Are you paying attention to that type of stuff?
No, when I was playing, I probably wouldn't. If the highlights were good, like, and they got thrown in your face, like whoever put them on their headlines. The geography is obviously important for it. I think that matters. You know, the fact that the Dodgers have won the division, I don't know, 73 straight years or whatever it is, that matters. And there's star power on both sides of the field. Like, they're two teams that have ponied up and paid for players that have star power. And like, dude, you realize when it's going Tatis, Machado, Hosmer in that lineup, that's $800 million hitting in a row. That's $800 million.
A couple bucks.
And when it's going Betts, Seager, Turner, and then Bellinger, that's like the equivalent of that, right? Like, Betts making 300 and whatever. Seager's going to make probably 300. Turner is like, he's going to make 150 before it's all said and done, like, just because he started late. And Bellinger's probably a $300 million player by the time he's done. So, like, they're star power, man. And, like, good for them for, like, going out to get – dude, just think about this. The Dodgers have A.J. Pollock basically on the bench, paying him like $70 million to sit on the bench. Like, that's a team that cares about winning. And
There's a really good article. Did you ever play against Aaron Bates, or was he out before you got there? He's with the Dodgers now.
He's a coach for the Dodgers. Yes.
Yeah, there he had a really good article. I forget if it was Fangraphs, but I read it. It was like listening to like Bill Belichick and Nick Saban talk, where it's like, hey, we're gonna do the most logical stuff ever, and then we're gonna win because of it. It's like, wow, these guys, like, that was incredible. You're gonna be rational and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, there's different styles, but we want to get the barrel on playing early, and we want guys to train correctly. And it's like, wow, this is groundbreaking stuff. So simple.
Yeah.
Don't make it harder. Randy, our guy Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, bro's a real deal, man.
Amazing play. This is like the epitome of the don't give up on a play. How hard is the roof at Tropicana?
So at nighttime, it's not that bad. Like, because there's a dark sky behind it, so it's a different color. During the day, it's so bad. Like, because you got, like, basically it's like, I don't know, it's just a pure white sky, like a white ceiling. It's pretty bad. Like, it's bad.
Whose idea was it to build a giant white roof that's kind of like semi-transparent, I guess?
Yeah, and then with the catwalk and
it gets illuminated a little bit.
Yeah, it was terrible during the day, and the catwalks are ridiculous. They're just in weird places, very reachable. I lost a home run because of one of them that sucked. So this is a triple story. Go look up my triple off the catwalk in Tampa. It definitely hit the C ring. There's no doubt about the fact that it hit the C ring. So like my general rule of thumb in domes was like once it goes up, stay on it. Don't if you take your eyes off it, it's going to be incredibly hard to find it. Because there's just no depth perception. You don't even in places like Toronto and Seattle and Arizona, like the depth perception of it's difficult. Arizona's a little bit easier, but like it's actually cool to see a ball go up with that much, like with a roof that high behind it. It's electric. Tampa's just if you take your eyes off it and you lose it, it's impossible to find it again. You got to get lucky and just put your eyes in the right spot. That ball, I'm assuming it hit the B ring, and then that's why Kiermaier lost.
No,
it.
Kiermaier just lost it, and Arozarena just sprinted the dead center field and they couldn't get a catch.
A real deal.
Because Kiermaier was like this right away. Had the hands up. The shortstop was pointing.
Yeah,
like, it's back. Yeah, awesome play. And then last quick hit, Corbin Burnes now has 49 strikeouts and no walks through 5 starts. Dude's nasty.
I was reading an article about him the other day. I didn't know who he was until I read the article, but like
I feel like he came out of nowhere, but he didn't really come out of nowhere. But he's on right now.
But he really figured it out. I guess last year they were talking about what his pitch usage and really understanding what pitches were most effective for him. So this is a place where like I really think, somebody that took data and really applied it and started to understand like, okay, this is where I'm at my best. Again, what another logical idea. Hey, this pitch is really good because of A, B, and C. The difference is now you don't have to go ask a hitter and say like, hey, does this make sense? Like, what do you think about this? Because the different guys could see it a little bit differently, but good for him, man. I love when guys
crazy impressive.
How old is he?
I don't know. I had his baseball page. He's 26.
Yeah. So, I mean,
so he could be doing this for a long time.
Not even old, right? Like not just a guy who, whatever, it gave him an opportunity. Like, I mean, he was going to get the opportunity no matter what, because he got to the big leagues. I think it was 2018 and he was still a puppy.
He had 30 games, no starts in 18, 32 games with 4 starts in 19.
Yeah, but he had a rough year in 19. Like he had, I think didn't he have like an 8 or something?
1-5 with an 8.
Yeah, he had an 8, and like they just kept running him out there, which is good because they knew he had the stuff. It just wasn't applying it really. Now he's executing. Kudos to him.
Pretty good. All right, final topic. UFC. Guys' legs are just breaking everywhere.
Oh man.
The actual broken leg was bad, but I thought watching that guy hobble around with like the broken nerve, he just got kicked in the nerve and he couldn't feel his leg. He was numb.
So I haven't heard an update on the injury, but from what I've heard, there are things that happen, like you can get kicked in the nerve and essentially just get dead leg, right? So that's what I was assuming it was. From what I understand, he made a statement, but I don't think he necessarily highlighted what happened. So I don't know, but he just got dead leg bad and couldn't do anything. Would have been a really good fight though, I think too. It was a big fight for him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But then obviously the Chris Weidman thing was gross.
They were back-to-back fights. It felt like they were legs just snap. Like somebody was tweeting like ban kicks for the night, no more kicks. I've never watched a full MMA, UFC, whatever, like a full night of fights. I generally get uncomfortable when like somebody's getting ground and pounded. Like I just don't enjoy that. It's just not really for me. But also like leg snapping, also not for me. So
but I'll tell you what, you picked one of the best nights to watch an event that really has happened in a long time. Like Daniel Cormier said it in the broadcast, like we didn't think it was that bad without the fans. He goes, we were wrong. Like it was electric, man. And the fights were all really good.
Production value was way different than what I expected, but I was very impressed. The way they were doing like background stories between fights, and it was good. It was very high production value.
Thug Rose Namajunas. Awesome. She's like such a fan favorite. She's so cool.
She kicked the girl in the neck, right?
Yeah. And
it was like fun. It was kind of fun to watch. Like, so that whatever happened there, she went for the kick, and the girl she was fighting thought it was gonna be like a leg kick. Yeah. So she backed up her legs and just got kicked in the neck instead. She was out.
Yeah, out. And then she was like, I wasn't out. And then my guy Jorge got knocked out. Love mom.
It's pretty scary when they wake up and they're like, what happened?
Yeah, he's never been knocked out before. That's why. Ever.
He was like smiling Like he got punched and he was like, okay, let's go. And then he was out.
He's one of those dudes that's like a bad man. Like he's a bad man, dude. Like
Well-
when I say a bad man, like he's like a warrior, like never been knocked out, 50 career fights, but like he gives respect where respect is due. And he like Usman is an absolute savage. Like this dude is the truth. Like he's one win away from being considered the greatest of all time, I think. Like, and he just keeps finding new ways. So when he was a Division II national champion wrestler, and now he's like, his last 2 fights he's won by knockout. Like he's learned how to strike, and bro, I mean, he's got like I think every muscle on his body has a muscle on it. So
Yeah.
he's a bad man, dude. Like
Very shredded. Very. He's like really quick and technical. But yeah,
they say
I don't know if about it.
They say he's the hardest worker in the gym too. Like he had the heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou in his corner, just to give you context. Like how many guys have other champions from other divisions in their corner? Like, and that's a sign of respect too. He's a man. He's nothing you can say that's bad about the guy. He used to win fights boring because like he would win, like the first Masvidal fight, like he just wrapped him up, got him to the ground. Masvidal was he was on 6 days notice when he took the fight, but that was resounding. Oof.
Yeah, there was one picture where he was getting punched and it was just like volumes of sweat.
Yeah. The knockout
exploding from his head.
The moments were so loud in the arena, like because everybody recognized like they hadn't had the opportunity to do it so long, and City of Jacksonville was great. Dana White's press conference after was awesome. He's like, "Thank you, City of Jacksonville. We will repay you with more opportunities for this. Thank you for making this work." And then he buried the Las Vegas Review Journal. It was funny. Dana White's a pretty interesting character. I like him.
Yeah, and that's UFC. That's talking UFC. It was good. I don't know if I'll watch it again, but
well,
I enjoyed it.
I'm glad that was your experience. Since
Patrick was like saying all the names, and I'm like, dude, just say like Tattoo versus Mullet. Like you're saying the name of the fighter. Like Tattoo had a good punch there. Mullet had a good I just dropped an F-bomb right there by accident, but Mullet had a good grapple. Like, I don't know what any of the terms are. I don't know what we're talking about.
You should have just said Johnny. You see Johnny do that?
Or like Yellow Shorts. Yellow Shorts had a good punch. He's like, give me all the background. He's very into it. I get it. I'm probably not going to get too invested because I have kids, but that's all right.
Invested or vested?
I'm not going to invest my time and energy into it.
I don't know what the right term is.
I have no financial stake in it, so I'm not vested.
Good.
There it is. All right. That's it. Episode 37. 37.
Pickle out!